Moses' early life and calling, Exodus 2:4, birth and early life. Moses was born to Hebrew parents during a time when the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt. To save him from Pharaoh's decree to kill all Hebrew baby boys, his mother placed him in a basket on the Nile River. Pharaoh's daughter found and adopted him, raising him as an Egyptian prince, Exodus chapter 2 verse 110. Flight to Midian. As an adult, Moses killed an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew slave and fled to Midian to escape Pharaoh's wrath. In Midian, he married Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, a priest of Midian, and became a shepherd, Exodus chapter 2 verse 11-22. Burning bush. God called Moses from a burning bush on Mount Horeb, Sinai, instructing him to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of slavery. Despite Moses' initial reluctance, God assured him of divine support and sent his brother Aaron to assist him, Exodus 3:4. Moses confronts Pharaoh, Exodus 5:6, initial request. Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh, asking him to let the Israelites go to worship in the wilderness. Pharaoh refused and increased the Israelites' burdens, leading to their suffering and despair, Exodus chapter 5. God's promise. God reassured Moses and the Israelites of his covenant, promising deliverance and reiterating his plan to bring them to the promised land, Exodus chapter 6. The 10 plagues, Exodus chapter 7:12. Water turned to blood. Aaron struck the Nile with his staff, turning the water into blood, killing fish, and making the water undrinkable. Pharaoh's magicians replicated this, and Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, Exodus chapter 7 verse 14-24. Frogs. Frogs swarmed Egypt, infesting homes and fields. Pharaoh's magicians replicated this plague, but Pharaoh still refused to let the Israelites go after promising to do so once the frogs were removed, Exodus chapter 8 verse 115. Gnats, lice. Aaron struck the dust with his staff, turning it into gnats that tormented people and animals. The magicians could not replicate this plague, acknowledging it as the finger of God, but Pharaoh remained obstinate, Exodus chapter 8 verse 16-19. Flies. Swarms of flies infested Egyptian homes, but the land of Goshen, where the Israelites lived, was spared. Pharaoh promised to let the Israelites go but reneged once the flies were gone, Exodus chapter 8 verse 20-32. Livestock pestilence. A severe plague killed the Egyptians' livestock, but the Israelites' animals were unharmed. Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, Exodus chapter 9 verse 17. Boils. Moses and Aaron took soot from a furnace and threw it into the air, causing boils to break out on Egyptians and their animals. Pharaoh's magicians were afflicted and could not stand before Moses, but Pharaoh refused to relent, Exodus chapter 9 verse 8-12. Hail. God sent a devastating hailstorm, destroying crops, livestock, and people in the fields. The Israelites in Goshen were again spared. Pharaoh admitted his sin but hardened his heart once the storm ceased, Exodus chapter 9 verse 13-35. Locusts. A swarm of locusts devoured what remained of Egypt's crops. Pharaoh hastily summoned Moses and Aaron, admitting his sin, but again changed his mind after the locusts were removed, Exodus chapter 10 verse 120. Darkness. A thick darkness enveloped Egypt for 3 days, but the Israelites had light where they lived. Pharaoh offered to let the Israelites go if they left their livestock behind, but Moses refused. Pharaoh then hardened his heart further, Exodus chapter 10 verse 21-29. Death of the firstborn. God warned of the final plague, the death of all firstborns in Egypt. The Israelites were instructed to mark their doorposts with lamb's blood so the angel of death would pass over their homes. At midnight, all Egyptian firstborns, including Pharaoh's son, died. Pharaoh finally relented, allowing the Israelites to leave, Exodus chapter 11-12-30. The Exodus and the parting of the Red Sea, Exodus chapter 12-14. Departure from Egypt. The Israelites left Egypt hastily, taking unleavened bread and spoils from the Egyptians. They journeyed toward the Red Sea, guided by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Exodus chapter 12 verse 31-13-22. Pursuit by Pharaoh. Pharaoh regretted letting the Israelites go and pursued them with his army. The Israelites, trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's forces, despaired, Exodus chapter 14 verse 112. Parting of the Red Sea. God commanded Moses to stretch out his staff over the sea, parting the waters and creating dry ground for the Israelites to cross. The Egyptian army followed but was engulfed by the returning waters once the Israelites were safely across. This miraculous deliverance led to the Israelites' freedom and the destruction of their oppressors. Exodus chapter 14 verse 13-31.